Hey, everybody. Well, here we are, episode 300. An episode of this magnitude needs a slightly different introduction, and hopefully that one was worthwhile. We tried to find as many 300 issue comics covers to work with, but there aren't a lot of good ones. I hate to tell you that, but we did our best. I think there was an Action Comics one that I thought about trying, but I thought it might have been a little too lewd if I would have done that one. But I might do that in a meme sometime in the future. But 300 episodes is a milestone worth celebrating, right? And so we've uh, we've got a unique guest, somebody who's been in the chat for a very long time, has seen every single episode of every show that we've ever done, and commented on most of them. Can many of you say that? I don't know. I mean, I can't even say that I've seen many of them. But we have Mr. Thomas Derrick with us tonight, number one Marvel fan, well, AKA number one Marvel fan, and it's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about props. We're going to be talking about art and how we got here 5 years later. So yeah, thank you, everybody. But let's bring Tom into this stream. He's ready to go, aren't you, Tom? Hey,
Hello.
man. You're an opposing figure on the chat. Everybody, I usually talk to guys and gals who are just don't you're a man among men, Tom, and we've also gotten to see you at OAX the last couple of years, and you're long overdue to get you here on the show with us.
Well, I thought it was time to come on. I finally got the courage to come on.
Well, I get it. After seeing all the you know what to expect tonight. It's an easy, laid back kind of hangout. And I don't know about you. I've got my Zevia here. I don't know what your drink of choice is.
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. All right. Well,
this is the homie version. Homie.
I've had a few of those. I had and the bros and whatever else. But yeah, see, all of our friends are in the chat. I know you're on your phone right now, so you can't see. But Jiggy's in here. Look at Ian's here. Jason D'Ambrosio's here. I mean, he doesn't come out for just anybody, Tom. And you know that. And what else? Sean Clancy. Everybody's in here. Somebody was curious if this was the number one DC chat, and tonight it is not. I hate to say it. I don't think we'll be talking a lot about DC. Well, maybe a little bit. That I did. You sent me that photograph of you like when you were younger with the comics and stuff on your walls, and I did see a Batman comic hanging on the wall.
The 70s, 80s, I love DC comics. Yeah, I read all of them. I read them all. I just kind of grew out of them, I guess.
I never grew into them, but I get it. I get it. Kazler wants to know, is Tom going to be able to smoke during this? It's hard to say.
I got a geek bar with me, so I'm good.
See, there you go. Got it covered. But no, well, that's cool because I actually have that image queued up because I figured what place better to start than the beginning of a collector's time in this wonderful journey of ours. And look at this. You have is that a Saint Bernard carrying a can of Coors? I don't think I've seen that T-shirt. I don't remember that one from the 70s.
My grandfather's retired sergeant major, and the beer he drank was Coors Light back in the day. And he got me that shirt for Christmas back then in the 80s. And that's all he drank. He's a Coors Light guy. He always drank Coors Light.
Well, that's actually Kazler would shout out that that's my beer of choice when I'm trying to watch my weight these days. But see, if you look on the back, right behind your head is a Batman comic. But you got plenty of other stuff there. So you got the Fantastic Four lunchbox over there over your to the left hand corner of the screen, because I got one of those. But you got an Elf Lord comic too. So it was you're still a little diverse, right, at this point in your in your comics reading.
That was my favorite books I hung up. I wish I had pictures of the rest of the room, because the whole room was comic books and G.I. Joe and Star Wars. The whole room was that way. And I got one picture of it. That's it. And I've been offered money for that picture. A couple of those guys that collect those old pictures.
Yeah.
Ivan's one of them, I think. His name, Ivan Briggs, I think is his name.
Yeah, Ivan does.
Yep. Yeah, I think they're trying to make a book of them or something. But my grandmother took that picture when she had a Polaroid camera she got, and that's the only one I've gotten of that shows that I collected back then. That shows anything of my existence at that time.
Well, I mean, back in the day, that was like the only way we had to kind of catalog what we were collecting. I did the same thing, right? I laid out all the comics, put them in stacks, tried to organize them, put my Slurpee cups along, in there with them, any of my Marvel Horror or Hulk magazines or whatever I could get, and just kind of stack them up. And it was cool. It was like you basically verified that you had a comic collection in the late 70s or early 80s by taking photographs of them. But I don't think my mom would have let me hang them on the walls though. So you were lucky in that regard.
Well, I got away with a lot, but during these years, I was home a lot by myself. My parents were always doing something or working, or I was always by myself at the house at this time. So I got to do what I wanted as far as decorating the room.
And Josh Flanders says you had a replica Uzi on there. That's definitely not a Red Ryder BB gun. I can tell that. But yeah,
That's a AR-15 BB gun.
it is a BB gun. Well, there you go. It was it did look like an AR-15 to me. I just didn't know if we had them back then or not. But all right, cool.
I just wish I had pictures of the other wall, because I had a Joe Jusko on the Black Cat poster here, and on the other side I had the She-Hulk on Muscle Beach by Joe Jusko. And I used all my comic book money to get those posters that week. I just had to get them when they came out.
Well, you should have stood in front of the wall there, and then she would have taken a couple extra Polaroid shots from you. No, that's awesome though. And I would bet anybody else in the chat who grew up in the 70s or 80s definitely did the same thing. I mean, it's just what we did.
Oh yeah.
But now, so clearly comics were, so tell me, comics, when did you get started reading them? Why? What's your origin story there, man?
Well, during the 70s, as far as I can remember, my mom telling me stories that when I was really young, I got something, I think water would get my ear. So it kind of affected my speech, how my speech was being developed. So I had to go to a school that was like for to help you get caught up in your speech, way you spoke and how you heard words and could express them. And when I went to that, they had comic books everywhere to help you read. I mean, they had comics everywhere. This is probably around 76, 75. And then, of course, the same thing everybody says, Spider-Man TV shows started coming on, Hulk, Star Wars is coming out, the big Treasury editions will come out. And I just started getting comic books at that time, probably around 77, 78. I just started picking them up on my own. And my dad's friends were all Marines. They were always Vietnam buddies would come over during those years, and when they knew I liked those superheroes, they would bring me their comic books they had.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of Weird War tales, a lot of Sergeant Rock, a lot of DC stuff, but it was all like war stuff, comics they read. And what really got me into comic books, though, was when we moved back to North Carolina in 1980, there was a bookstore called the Book Exchange. And the guy that ran the place would give you credit for comic books to buy books.
Mm-hmm.
And he put them all the way in the very back of the store, and he kept them in small cubes. And it was probably a 15-foot wall, 6 foot high of comic books, of just cubes full. And he had a rubber stamp. He would stamp the cover with like 10 cents, 15 cents. And he didn't care if you went in the back and read them, pulled them out, sat there with you, the stacks, whatever you wanted. And for about 3 years, I lived right next to that place. I could literally see it out my window where we lived. And I would go there every day, go through all the stacks, thousands of comic books, and just pull out stuff. Sit there for 2-3 hours, read them.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother was a really big book reader, so she would give me her books, and I would take them to the store, get trade, and I could use it towards comic books. So I had it going good for a few years, right? And then my first comic shop was 84. That was when one opened up, and I mean, once that opened up, I was in trouble. I mean, I was skipping.
You're trying to get a job there?
Well, I did. I worked there probably around 80, probably the late 84, early 85. I got a job there just for credit.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody wanted to bag and board comic books. Nobody wanted to go through any of that. And I would just sit there for hours bagging and boarding comic books. And in the back room, the stock room, they probably had hundreds of boxes of comic books that he had bought from collections. And I knew enough at this time to go through what the key issues, go through Overstreet Price Guide, pull out any book that was that I thought was something of importance, and just put it to the side. Then the owner would come back there and look through it. So if I found a bunch of good books, if I found some Hawk 181s, 129s, if I found anything good, I mean, I wish I had pictures of this room. It was a whole stock room of comic books this guy had been buying for decades. I mean, they were everywhere, and none of them were bag and boarded. They were just all raw comic books and stacks and in boxes. And that's what I would do. Some days I skipped school. You know, when I was in high school, 9th grade, I would skip school sometimes, go work there. I mean, it's just, we got away with a lot of stuff at that time, but that was pretty much, I was a Marvel Zombie, old school Marvel Zombie. And just always loved it, man. I always loved when Dark Knight came out, when Watchmen came out. They're DC comic books, but everybody in the shops would talk about those books. I mean, we were in there, all the guys would come in, buy pizza, buy soda for everybody there, and you just sat around and read and talked about the new comic books that came in that week. And which was a great time. Back then, it was just a great time to have a local shop to hang out at. It was great. I mean, I just loved it, you know. And that love kept going, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I lived that close to a comic shop when I was that age, but you know, mine was like at least 20 minutes away from where I lived, so I had to go to the drugstore and you know, in those kind of places to pick up comics early on. But yeah, you had it made, man, and you got to read them and then bag them and move on to the next one. So you're collecting them at the same time though, right? So your room was full of comics as well back at the house.
Yeah, like the time that picture was taken was around 87. I probably had about 14 long boxes of comic books at that time. I would bag and board them at that time. Yeah, they were. Now, if I couldn't afford to buy 100 bags at a time, you could buy like 5 cents. You could buy a few bags and a few boards. I could afford to do that. You know, what really got me where I had got the money was in the early 80s where we lived, there was a car wash. And the guy had about 20 pumps out there, vacuums. He would dump all the vacuum cleaners into the woods where people would vacuum out their cars.
Yeah.
Me and my friends found out about it, and we would go out there with screens and shovel up all the old vacuuming that came out of the pumps. They get all the change out of there. You would find change.
Wow.
We would clean it up, and I would roll it up and go buy comic books with it. It was just hustle. I was hustling, buddy. Milk bottles, soda bottles. Getting soda bottles for comic books. It was just.
That's the story I've told. You know, my grandmother always set aside the 6 or 8 pack of the bottles of RC and whatever else they were drinking, and whenever we'd come to visit them, I'd load them all up in a shopping cart and take them down to the grocery store to get the money. But I never went looking for pennies and nickels and quarters out of vacuum cleaner empties. That's a new one, man. But hey, like you said, you got to hustle at that age, right? You don't have time to mow lawns or anything. If you're into comics, you got to go out and make the money wherever you can get it.
That's right. And I tell you, I was always looking for bottles. If I found bottles, you know, you got a couple of bottles, you got a free comic, you got a comic book. You know, so it was just, you get on your bike, you ride around a backpack, and you just be careful. And a lot of the grocery stores back then that would sell comic books, all the gas stations would have comics, the Scotchmans, the Get-Go, the Gascos. And I was always looking for money to buy comics. I always stop at the soda machines, telephone booths, newspaper machines, and check the change holders. I mean, that's what I did. I would find quarters, I'd buy nickels, I'd buy dimes.
It was always great when you walked up to the phone booth and you kept hitting the coin return and money would come out, right? Right. I remember doing that as a kid, you know, but I don't think I bought comics with that money. But yeah, there's always tricks to get a couple extra dimes or quarters out of something, that as long as it had a return, like a pinball machine or something, or even an arcade game. Yeah, you never know. Dang, man. So you're still hustling to this day. I mean, I don't want to jump to current, but it's like, so from that point on, I mean, were you hooked? I mean, you know, if we're talking 87, I mean, you're just about getting out of high school, or you are out of high school by then, right? And
high school, 89, 90.
89, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and I took a break, like most of us, probably around right after Image came out, because I was selling comic books at the flea market for a few years. From 88 to 92, I would sell comic books at the flea market. I had a spot that I had to set up. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You could set up and sell comic books. So it was the perfect time because all the good books were starting to come out. You know, everybody would look for the Tom McFarlane, Spider-Mans. You know, the books would sell out quick. And I always knew that the gas stations would get the comics a month after the stores got them. So when a really hot book came out and they sold out of it, I knew all the spots to go to buy them a month later.
Right.
So I'll go get them and then have them for that weekend to sell them at the flea market. Like when Spawn #1 came out, like I said, you would buy using a Wizard price guide, you would sell using the Overstreet price guide when you bought somebody's collection. You know, they're all current monthly, bi-monthly guides,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and depending on what the person used. But I would ride around to all the bookstores and look through all their books they got that week. And then I would just try to hustle a little bit on the weekend to sell it, to get enough to pay some bills. You know, it was just every week, you know, and that's just what I did at that time. It's just what I did.
So who were your regular buyers? I mean, were they other kids or were they, adults? What was that like at the flea market?
Jacksonville's a Marine Corps town. It's all
Mhm.
Marines here. Camp Lejeune's here. And at that time, the flea market was set up right next to the movie theater. And it was the main movie theater in Jacksonville. So when they got out of the 2 o'clock showing or before they went to the 12 o'clock showing, all the young Marines would go to the flea market and walk around. You know, they get out of the cab early, go to the flea market. So everybody bought comics from me was mostly Marines. There wasn't a whole lot of it. So I always asked them what they're looking for, what they were looking, you know, what they wanted. I would get there probably about 5 o'clock in the morning to the flea market, and that's when all the yard sale people would show up, people that were just selling to get rid of their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you would run up to their car, ask them, hey, you got any comics? You got any toys? Oh, I don't got none. You run to the next one. You got any comics? Got any toys?
Yeah.
So they're coming in fast, right? So you got to keep running up to them before the other guy gets to them. And that's just what we did. We were hustling, and an official opened at 8 o'clock. So we would go around, buy what we could, have it set up, and sell it. You know, it was just it was fun. It was no eBay, no internet. It's just you had your own knowledge, what you knew to look for and what to buy that was going to sell is what helped you make it. You know, yeah, it was knowledge based. You had to know what to get quick, and that's just what I did every weekend.
So you knew who the other buyers were when you were, running into the flea market. You could see the competition out there, and you would just out hustle them.
There was 2 other guys that sold comic books there. One of them was a friend of mine named Wayne, and the other one was Don. It was just 3 of us that looked for comic books. Now, one year, I can tell you stories of stuff I missed. You know, they would brag about this stuff that, you know.
Oh, there's bragging in comic. I don't even know what scalping,
Just
basically.
buy and resell. I mean, people are selling their stuff at the flea market. You buy it and you price it and you're reselling it.
Give me one story they rubbed in your face. What did they get that that has bothered you to this day?
Oh, there's people that showed up out there with like entire collection of Star Wars figures still on the card. The vehicles, they had just a whole collection of it. These are people that just want to get rid of it. You know, they're trying to sell it. You don't want to take nothing home with them.
Right.
Just stuff like that, you know. Boxes of comic books from the 60s, you know. Some guy, it was his collection. He might have been in Marine Corps. He might have been getting out of the Marines after 20 years. And he's been here since the 60s, you know. And it was just buying all of his comics he had bought for 15 years. And he's just selling them by the box. And you're going through it, and you have Amazing Spider-Man #1 in there. And back in the 80s, they weren't worth as much as they are now. And the condition they would generally be in probably like a 5 or a 6. So it wasn't like it was in mint condition. But it was just stuff like that you either got to it before they did, or they, you know, it's just the way it was. It was just, you had to be quick. But we sold everything. I did toys, comic books, and cards. A lot of people look for cards. But back then, it was the movie cards. Everybody wanted the Hawk movie cards, Superman, or Indiana Jones. There was a lot of cards that came out by that time. The Kiss cards. And a lot of people collected those in my area back then.
Yeah, well, my brother was big into Kiss cards. I mean, he had posters and he had radios with Kiss on it. I mean, you name it. If there was any Kiss related material on something, he owned it. It didn't matter what. But I get it. That was But that's so did you guys all like set up together, or did you take strategic spots around there? Did you set up next to each other just to kind of see what everybody had?
Well, this is a pretty really long flea market. It was kind of long and narrow,
Mm.
and for a while we were set up separate. But my friend Wayne and me would eventually set up together. Probably the last year and a half of doing it.
Yeah.
And he was about 15 years older than I was. You know, I met him. He was a cook at the restaurant down the street where I lived. And I would go in there and trade comic books for food sometimes. He was, hey, look, bring me some comics. I'll give you a hamburger and fries. You know, so I would, for a while, I had it kind of rough where I was living with my dad and stuff. So stuff like that's what got me, you know, trading comic books for food sometimes is what you had to do. And we just got to be friends after a while. For about 2 years, my dad was in prison, so I didn't get a lot. You know, it was just kind of hard to go for a few years.
So that's when you were able to create your room however you wanted. But where'd you store all this stuff? I mean, if you got toys, I mean, you're talking about stuff that occupies a fair amount of space. I mean, where was all this stuff going? Did you rent a space somewhere to kind of store stuff?
Well, when my mom and dad split up, I had to go stay with his friend for a while, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a corner of the bedroom, spare bedroom. I had the comic book stacked up. I had a whole bunch of my toys I had kept at that time stacked up. But eventually, he lost his job, so he was like, "Look, we're gonna have to do something to get some money to pay the bills, you know." So I had to start selling my personal collections, kind of what got me going.
Mm-hmm.
To start selling at the flea market, pretty much was my personal stuff. So after a while, all the toys were gone, and all I had was my personal stuff, and that was what I was selling at the flea market was kind of like a mix of my personal stuff and stuff I was selling. You know, so for a while there, it was kind of rough until I eventually got a job working where I learned how to paint and became a commercial painter. So for a few years there, it was kind of rough. You just had to do what you had to do, you know.
Right.
And that's just what I did. I sold comics. I hustled.
Well, it's still a good story. I mean, the idea that comics were what put food on the table and also gave you joy, and kind of gave you a regular job, I guess, in a weird way, if you want to consider the flea market, thing, something that you regularly did for work. But no, I mean that's it's commendable. Like Peter said, it sounded like a really tough time, but you clearly got through it. And when did you become what you've been doing this the selling of furniture and all that kind of stuff for a while, right? Or this isn't a new gig for you?
No, 2001, I started doing storage auctions. To go to storage bay auctions in 2000, right? 99.
Yeah.
And we would start buying storage units in this area. And I would get to know, all the Marine Corps gear that people look for. You get to buy a storage unit in this town, you'll get one that's got all kinds of great U.S. Marine Corps gear in it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you get one that's got, hundreds of DVDs in it or games, just like you see on TV. Though it's not quite like that. It's pretty fake on TV. You'll lose your pants in real life.
Yeah.
But I probably bought over 2,000 storage units over the years. Because I would buy 20, 25 a week sometimes. Just buy them, go to the next one, buy it. That's why I opened my first store up and then have a place to sell it. And then I opened a second store up, and then I opened another one up. And you just evolved, and they stopped doing storage bays. And just got into full on having a specialty store and having a furniture only store, and got out of that. The TV show ruined that for me. Everybody would show up because of the TV show. It got bad.
So buying storage lockers was nothing like the TV show at all?
No, they make a lot of such. Look, out of all those units I bought, I've probably gotten maybe 10 really good ones like you see on TV. Mm-hmm. They were really good. I mean, I've got ones with safes in it, full of jewelry, full of guns. I mean, they are out there, but you got to have a lot of duds to get to the good ones. You got to be able to survive. If you spend $2,000 buying units and it's all, it's got 100 boxes in the unit, but all the boxes are full of Christmas stuff,
right?
Books, then you're out of money. Then you got to pay dump fees, and you got to empty it, and you got to do all this and for free, So you had to know how to buy. You really had to know how to do it.
Wow. Now, throughout all that, through the early 2000s and stuff. You had mentioned that you stopped collecting for a while. I mean, so what got you back into comics then? And don't tell me it was a storage locker that was full of
No,
comics.
no,
Wishful
I had a
thinking.
few. I got some good comic books out of storage bays. I've gotten a few
Yeah.
good boxfuls. But I just, when I got married and stuff, I just started getting slowly back into it. When I had my son, and I would just get back into it. I got interested in G.I. Joe. I kind of got back into the eBay around 97, 98, because eBay is what started it back.
Mm-hmm.
Going to eBay back then, it was harder to buy stuff and sell stuff, but that's pretty much what got me back into comics was eBay and G.I. Joe.
But more as like speculator, picking up stuff that you knew you were going to sell, or buying things for yourself to keep.
No, to collect, keep. Yeah, I was wanting to buy stuff to keep. Yeah, it was a lot harder back then. Like everybody says, you see everybody's name, who the buyer was, right? Who was bidding against you. And I would see those guys at conventions, and because we were all bidding on the same stuff, and most of the time it was friendly, but sometimes they had attitudes, or it would turn into a little smart mouth back and forth. But
now I'm getting to understand why you and Anthony would kind of jab at each other in the chat and on the show. It kind of comes out of that, right? I mean, it's just part of the, I don't know, part of the world where people are buying and selling and trading, and it's all starting to make a little bit of sense, Tom.
if you're in retail right now, it's very hard, buddy. It's very hard. People come in the store every day wanting it for half price. They're rude. It's very hard right now in retail.
Oh,
it is
no.
for me anyway.
No, you can see it everywhere. I mean, if you follow the CAF update, I mean, look at what the dealers have been selling of late. They're down 50% or more, and I've heard. I think it's kind of where we're at right now. A lot of uncertainty with cash, but yeah, everybody wants stuff at 50%, right? I mean, that's kind of well, maybe it wasn't like that a few years ago. Anyway, but so we're looking at stuff, those Iron Man images on the back wall reminds me that you collect props too. So, you gotta, don't tell, a storage locker got you started collecting props, or is it eBay?
Just what got me started collecting props was when they first did the first auction about 2010, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
They started doing the studio auctions for the Marvel movies. Before Disney owned it, they would do auctions for all these movies. Like Spider-Man would have a big auction for the studio, FF, Thor. They would all do, especially the non-MCU movies, like Blade, all the ones that came out before the MCU. And you knew it was real stuff. You knew it was screen use stuff. It was official, studio COA, which you could believe it better than just getting one from an auction house somewhere that just says, yeah, we believe it's real, kind of deal. And of course, you got to do your own research. But I started buying small, and then I would see Captain America this or Iron Man this, and I found the catalogs for it, and I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of nice stuff out here. That's going at that time, it was going really cheap. I mean, it was going really cheap. I just started buying it and make friends along the way and do trade. Same thing with art. You just got all the people that buy the same thing, and you trade, and you only got a few people that buy those certain things. Or you're constantly in that same little circle for a while, and then you expand. You try to do Star Wars, and you get a little collection going. And then somebody offers you something nice from Marvel, but they want your Star Wars stuff. So now you got to trade all your Star Wars stuff. So it's one of those things where you build yourself up. It goes down. It goes up. Goes down.
Yeah, I remember I think it was like Prop Store. I think had a booth at San Diego in the mid 2000s or something. They were one of the first props auction sites or businesses that I remember seeing, because that was before Heritage got into it, or I even knew about Profiles in History and a few of the other places that would work in those things. But when you were buying auctions directly from the the studios, was there a third party that was coming in to do those, or were those handled by the studios themselves?
Usually it was third party. They send them the stuff to sell. They sell it for the studio. Yeah, same thing they do now.
Yeah.
Like they had a Netflix auction a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
Netflix sent Prop Store all the items. They do the catalog for them, and it's all handled the same way. The biggest thing for me was doing the research. I would buy all the books for the movies. I would watch behind the scenes videos, and I would get old magazines looking for the props in it and try to match them. So it's a lot more research in movie props than there is in art. It's pretty hard because you don't want to get something that's bad, like buying a fake piece of art that somebody hand drew to, you find out it's fake, and then what are you going to do? It's just, now you destroy it and you lose the money. So
Exactly. Is that what you would do with the prop if you knew it was fake or forged? You would just burn it,
that's
trash
what
it?
most people do. If
Yeah.
they're honest about it, if they don't try to just send it to some lower class auction house that might quietly pass it off in one of their auctions, which does happen. We would see it all the time. They call it out. But a lot of these auction houses, the smaller ones, would just ignore you. They would just not act like you didn't say anything to them and just keep going when the auction.
Right.
Well,
and that's where you get the specialty ones. Like when Profiles came in, I mean, they knew movie posters and they were, in the business and stuff. So you could kind of trust those a little bit more. And Prop Store, of course, was one of the early ones as well. James Siegel wants to know, art before props or props before art? Does either have an edge for you? And, as far as...
I've been buying props for the last couple of years now. I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
It's just art now. It's all art.
So there was a point though when props had that, you were more passionate about collecting the props versus the art.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to find anything anyway. And if you do, it's just they want so much money for it, and it's been owned by so many people. It's hard to even verify nowadays unless you see it in hand, and it's hard to buy any props unless you go visit them somewhere. They get to see. It's just way more complicated buying props right now. There's so many, like Thor hammers, for instance. There's like 40 Thor hammers out there in the market. There's not that many made. It's just does, but they're always in auction. And it's always a different Thor hammer from Dark World.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these props you see are the same ones that keep popping up. And I just, a lot of us have discussed it, that they can't be all real. Or not, stunts or heroes, or it just get too many fakes, mud to waters on props. It gets dangerous.
Well, I did ask you to do a walkthrough and record some of the space where you have some stuff. So I do have that video. So why don't we play that? It's a couple minutes long, and then we can look at some of the props, the slides that you sent me that we've chosen to talk about tonight. But here's the video. This was recorded where you're at right now, right? This is
that's the other store. I have those on display at the electronic video game store.
Okay. Well, let's take a look.
All right.
Good evening, guys. Here's a quick video of some of the marble props that I have on display at my stores, since I don't have any room for them at my home at the moment. There's a complete screen-worn Thing costume on a custom display. Ghost Rider 2 Spirits of Vengeance full costume on a nice custom display. Blade 2 costume.
It's really hot right here. These lights are making it hot.
With screen-worn Oakley sunglasses that are pretty cool. There's my complete Punisher costume. The jacket on those are always what everybody seeks. It's very hard to get the jacket. There's the only screen-used Doug Jones worn Silver Surfer costume I've ever seen on a nice custom Tom Spina display. And there's Ironmonger, the only one that was sold to the public from Iron Man movie. There's Stane's suit that he wears when he accepts Tony's award at the beginning of the movie. I have a few of these metal signs here. These were used in the prison scene in Guardians of the Galaxy. Got 4 of those. And then we go up to, we got a little mat there that was signed by the main crew, used for the set deck of Ant-Man and the Wasp. There's some Venom concept art that was sold. And here is the Hammer Army drone, the only complete one in existence, I believe, that has everything. I have a few of these Stark missiles, too, that were used in the cave scenes at the beginning of Iron Man. The Army drone is really cool. I mean, it lights up. I've had it for a good while now. It's very heavy. It's got a metal skeleton inside to keep it all together. Hopefully that's a nice little review of some of the things I have on display. Thank you for watching.
Well, there you go, Tom. That's just one corner of your space, right?
Yes, yeah. A lot of that big stuff, I have no space for them anywhere. So I have a lot of stuff that's in storage or costumes or on mannequins. So that's why I probably will be selling a lot of it, because if you can't enjoy it, it's like having a lot of art in the portfolio somewhere. You never see it, and it's like, it's great to have it, but if you never see it.
Have you? Well, we know you put the Hugh Jackman claws on before. And anything else you tried on? I mean, you have a Thor helmet or two, don't you?
Yeah, I don't usually wear anything because a lot of it's really small. When you actually get it, it's really small to fit. Like Chris Hemsworth in the early years was really skinny. He looks big in the movie, but when you see him in person, or his outfits are small. Chris Evans' outfits are really small. They don't fit. And you really don't want to put that stuff on anyway. You don't want to risk getting it damaged and mess it up with something that's worth a lot of money,
Mm-hmm. No, you can't do that. Now, you did send me some photos, so I think we just saw this piece, of course, but I do think you've got. But it looks like it's moved. So even though it's heavy, you've moved it around a few times.
Yeah, that was when I first got it, and I got it out of this. I have a giant wood crate that came in when I had it shipped to me. It's got a metal frame underneath it to hold all those pieces on. So I had to take it apart, and all those arms, legs came off, the body came off, and I moved it over to the store for display. But that's at the end of Iron Man 2, when all the drones blow up.
Oh yeah.
Tony does that spin around with his laser. You would see all those parts laying all around them.
Peter Rose says they didn't ship that one for free. Did you have to pick that one up?
No, that was $1,800 a ship.
Oh wow. Well, if it's the only one out there, yeah, it belongs in a museum someday.
Yeah, when you see the auction, the arm was sold. That arm was sold separate with the gun on it.
Uh-huh.
And there's a gray one, the navy version, right? But that one's missing pieces in the foot. I had to buy the arm separate from another guy and put it on the drone so it would complete the set. So I actually had to piece that one together so it would be complete. That's the only complete one there is out there. There's no other one's complete like that.
Well, it doesn't seem right, but I know I think Marcus was very impressed with the Blade costume. So this is from Blade 2?
Yes, everything there's down to the socks is screen used, Blade 2. And the head was custom made by artists, so it would look nice when you display it.
So what do people say? Is this in the front of the store, or is this an area that your customers can actually walk into?
This is behind showcases. They can't touch any of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, there's all showcases in front of it. Yeah, all that stuff is sold by the studio years ago. A lot of it's screen matches, so it's all good to go. It's exactly what he wore in the movie.
Yeah, I love the Blade movies. People forget how great those movies were. Sean says his wife would get rid of him if he started collecting props. Wow.
There's lots of movies. You can collect, from Disney movies, kid-friendly movies. There's a lot of great movies out there.
That's a good question. Have you know, art gets asked to be loaned to art shows and things, but we've seen plenty of props as part of the art shows, like the Marvel exhibit that's been traveling around. I mean, there's plenty of movie props in there. Has anybody ever asked you to put anything in any traveling shows?
Nobody's ever asked me. I mean, the way I get asked to go on TV shows to try to sell it. You know, like a comic book bin wanted me to go in there to try to sell Wolverine claws one time years ago. Pawn Stars wanted me to go in there and try to sell Iron Man arc reactor, but he had their superhero week years ago. You know, stuff like now. There's a show out on Vice TV called Marvel on Earth. It's like 8 episodes. They came and filmed everything. Yeah, Marvel on Earth. It was like an 8-part video for Marvel, history of Marvel.
You said Vice TV?
Yeah, you go on Amazon. I think it's on there now.
Okay.
But they use my props and comics through all the episodes.
Jason's he's trying to toy with. He says, "I'm still waiting for the Madam Web props that you promised him."
A lot of people, I have not seen anybody selling those anywhere. You see people selling fabric, like cuts, where like the person that did the outfits would have scraps left over from when they made her vest or her outfit.
Yeah.
And then they frame them up and say, this is pieces of the costume.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what they do with. There's a lot of those trading cards, right, where they cut up jerseys and. Yeah. Well, it's a thing.
Yeah, people like it. People collect them. People always want to rent them for like parties, though. They want to rent them for photography places and for birthdays and stuff like that. But I don't do any of that.
So we got a Ghost Rider prop. Did Nicolas Cage wear this?
Yeah, that's the one he wore in Spirits of Vengeance, Ghost Rider 2. That's on a custom display. Everything here was screen used.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, holding. Got the gun. I got the vials that he used at the end, where he's throwing them at the vampires or blowing them up.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, well, this was in there too. I used this for the show graphic. It was too good. You wear each part of those costumes better than I think I ever have. Look at that. The Thor hammer, the cap shield. I mean, you got it all rolling there, man.
Oh yeah. Those are the screen notes from Captain America. We sing that song at the end during the movie.
Yep,
He's
I
got the
remember
notes taped in his shield. That all screen matches, the tape, everything. That's exactly what he was reading off of. That was from a studio auction.
Original
stuff like that, I love it. I love stuff like that.
What do we got here?
That is the arc reactor from Iron Man 3, where he walks out and where his house used to be, and he takes it out of a brown bag and he throws it in the ocean. And then you see it in the deleted scene where he's in China, and they take it out of his chest where he picks him up and everything. That was bought from a charity auction that he donated it. I was really lucky to get that one. He signed the box and everything. I should have a picture of it out of it. I got it here handy. It's all aluminum. Yep, it's made by the prop master, Russell Bobbitt. Yep, everything is handmade out of aluminum. This is one of those ones that get bugged to sell a lot.
That's understandable. No, that's cool. And you get the signed box to go along with it. A photo from the.
In that one scene where Jeff Bridges is I have the handpiece in the one picture, and those earpieces he's wearing, they light up. That's protecting them from being tased. I have that all framed together in a little set.
Marcus hopes you'll trade your props for some ROM pages. I would imagine not. You got enough Ron pages probably right now. We'll talk about Ron Mart in a little bit, Marcus.
It depends on the page. I mean, I'll trade.
He's trying. Tony Stark's heart. That's right. That was exactly proof that he had a heart. And
I have that reactor over there in the corner. I got the proof that Tony has a heart, and I have it displayed on the RT from Iron Man 2. I didn't send pictures of that.
Man,
that's the helmet that he wears in the movie after he crashes. When he gets out, it's got the scratch marks on it, and that's the steering wheel from his car.
They sell that as a set, or do you buy these separately?
Oh, these were all separate. I just did a little picture pose there for him.
Did you have to match up the scuff marks to the movie?
You can see the helmet and the steering wheel was sold at the studio auction. But if you stop the movie or 4K, you can see where he's wearing the helmet.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what else we got here. And there's plenty more. There you go.
Oh, yeah, that's right here behind me in the corner here. That hand there, if you watch Wolverine Origins with where Sabretooth steps on his claws or breaks them.
Mm-hmm.
He has them on like a railroad track or something. They have breakaway claws. Where in that one scene, his hand is fake. When Sabretooth steps on him, it breaks them off. Now the Ghost Rider arm is robotic. I have a controller that attaches separate from it, and the hand opens and closes. So during the movie, when it's seen on the flames, where the hand's moving, they're using that arm. There's behind the scenes videos of them using that and showing how they used it. It's pretty cool. It's got all kinds of cables in the arm and everything. And the comic I got right here, a lot of people never notice the movie prop comic book. What's different about it? Because you got the original comic there,
right?
And the one used in the movie, they had to change something on it.
Oh, it's missing Bucky.
Yeah, they had to hire an artist to draw that because Bucky wasn't in the comic at that time in the movie.
Yeah. Don't want to ruin continuity on the films. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Both of those are colored hero versions.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's two that have been graded. There was one at C2E2 years ago where the guy had like a custom shield display that he had the comic book displayed in after he had it graded. I just ain't never got mine graded.
And what are those chair backs up there? Chris Evans. Yeah.
I got a lot of chair backs. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I used to have people that worked on the movie sets, friends of mine that worked at all these movies. They would get the chair backs off the set. But those were from the auctions, those studio auctions.
Mm-hmm.
You have a couple Captain America backs, and I always try to get them signed. I have about 15 of them all signed by the actor. You get pictures of them holding it. But there's that taser I was talking about that he opens up and it lights up. And the piece that he pulls this reactor out of his chest with. And that's the little light up earpieces that Stain's wearing. I just put them all together for a little display, custom display. Those were all sold at the official studio auction. Those are all Thor helmets. Remember in Dark World where he goes to that, what is that? The other world where everybody's fighting. He breaks up that rock guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
What world that is? Niflheim or all the Marauders? Those are Marauder helmets.
Beginning of the film. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's the Royal Guard helmet though. Odin's Royal Guard. I have the complete costume for that because they never got it on display. I got all the armor, the cape, the spear, the sword, the shield. I have the complete armor for that.
You gotta sell a lot of comics and a lot of furniture to buy this stuff, I imagine. Or was it still affordable in the early days?
It was pretty for a lot affordable than what it is now.
Mhm.
Now it's really hard to get it because you follow any of the auctions, you never see this stuff at auction because everybody either keeps it or they never sell it. You know, it wasn't much made. Now my Royal Guard outfit has prop store COA with it, but I bought that privately years ago
Okay.
from them. Those both have prop store COAs. All three do.
I did see a question earlier, Tom. James was wondering if you had ever picked up a Black Widow costume because if you have one, he'd be very interested to maybe purchase it. But that might be something you might want to DM him about later.
Yeah, I had one from Iron Man 2, but I traded that away a long time ago, a couple years back.
Sorry, James. You're gonna have to settle for a cosplay replica. Well, these are cool. Anything like that's well, there you go. That's different. I'm sure that doesn't fire anything, not even a BB.
Well, that's the one he's holding in that one scene where he turns and shoots that one. You know, that's the light up version where the barrel lights up, the hand grip lights up. That's the hero that Red Skull is using for that one small scene. It's the only time you see him holding it. They sold two at the auction. They sold like a non-working one that was kind of beat up looking, and that's the nicer one. Yeah, the little clip lights up there, lights up here, lights up up there.
Spider-Man 3 props. Do you buy a lot of Spider-Man props?
Yeah, there was a few guys I knew that when Columbia, they did the movie, they had a big studio auction. They had hundreds of Spider-Man props. And a couple of collectors bought almost all of them. I mean, because they were going so cheap at the time. And I got a bunch of Spider-Man props. That one I got lucky on. I got a good deal on that one years ago. But that's his full costume that he wears, screen matches. And I got the studio COA with it. So what I want to do with that is do a custom display with some sand on the arm. They do a nice sand base for it, but I'll probably end up selling it. So I probably never get to do that.
So most of this stuff is in storage then, not even on display in the
the
shop.
Sandman costume is just folded up in a small box. A lot of this stuff I never took it out of the box when I bought it. It just stayed in the box. Now that's a complete hide your costume from the movie. All that lights up like it does in the movie. The back hat lights up. That's Captain America Steve Rogers' boot camp outfit. And that's the one he's wearing when he's talking to the doctor on the bunk bed right before he gets the experiment done.
Right.
He had that shot. He's doing that shot. That's the one he's wearing that scene.
Here we go. We're getting to the good stuff now. So this is screen worn by Chris.
That's the screen worn full torso armor. At the time, I could have bought the Avengers version too, because the guy had both of them, and they both got prop store COAs with them. But the Avengers version looks almost the same, except it's got a little bit longer front. And I said, I'll just take the one. I don't want the Avengers version. And I should have bought it because about 10 years ago, Thor stuff like that was not selling for much at all. Nobody was buying it. You know, they might have paid $3,000 for it back then. It was just crazy. But I have that right here. I pulled it out.
The base is cool, being the shape of the hammer.
Yeah, the base lights up. It's got a custom display that it's on, and all that lights up down here. It's all cut out with It's pretty nice.
Jason doesn't know anything about anything. He said Thor sucks. It's the Marvel's equivalent to Aquaman.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He must be a Jason Momoa fan or something like that. Anything from Indiana Jones or Star Wars? Who wants to know?
I tried to collect that stuff years ago, and you would get, like I said, every time I would try to get a collection, all the people I would deal with would always say, "Look, I'll trade you, but I want that piece and I want that piece." So they would always end up getting that stuff. So you can never build a collection on that stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of pictures where I had shelves full of Star Wars props, but somebody would get something really nice in, and I would just trade it all away. That's all screen use stuff there. It's Iron Man gauntlets, hands, helmets, a lot of RT light up reactors. That's when they had it all displayed at 2 houses ago in that one corner.
Man,
I still have most of that stuff. That's how small Tony Stark is. Robert Downey Jr. Those are Italian-made suits that they had made for him. And I have 3 suits now. They all screen match.
what's that from?
That's the Hero Blade gun from Blade,
Mm.
and that's the holster for it. The guns you'll see here and there. You'll see the stunt guns, but you never see the holster. Very hard to find a holster for it. And that is like a detailed stunt. They'll call it like a hero stunt, where it's really they put a lot more work into the detail of it, but it's still rubber. It's not metal or anything.
I got to keep them light, I guess, right? So Matt DiTullio says, Tom, thanks for coming on and showing all these amazing things. Absolutely incredible. It is true. I don't think we've really looked at props in the 299 previous episodes or any other show that we've done on the channel yet. But I think we should. There's a lot of prop collectors out there, right? I mean, we wouldn't have these large auctions out there, auction platforms like Prop Store, and I mean, Heritage is getting into it more nowadays as well. So, I mean, I assume you know a lot of people who are out there still actively collecting, or have you been out of it enough that it's kind of changed too much?
No, I still know all the people. I mean,
yeah.
we talk every week, every other week. They'll either email me a picture of something. They want my advice on a prop they're buying, or I always get people writing me asking me for my opinion because I did a lot of research on movie props. I studied them for years, especially from the big movies like Star Wars, any Marvel movie. That's the Iron Man gauntlet. And that's got the back piece on it too. The back shield that goes over the hand. There's only a few of those that have made it out there in the real world.
Earlier, that same gun. A Cosmic Cube, huh? Look at that.
Yeah, that's Tesseract. And that's the one that he has in the holder. Where he has the holder that goes over it, where he carries it. Yeah. I get bugged a lot to sell this one.
I'm sure. And what about the hood ornament? Stingray's that one.
The hood ornament is all custom chrome, solid chrome. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it was screwed on the front of the roadster. And it weighs about 3 pounds.
Man, if you had it on the front of your car, you'd get a few looks for sure.
This was there's pictures online. I should have downloaded it, but this used to be on Joe Johnston's desk, the director of the movie. And there's a whole story of his girlfriend or something to selling the stuff and all that, and somehow it ended up in auction when I got it. I get bugged a lot to sell this one.
Do you have a polite way of turning down offers for stuff that you're not selling?
Well, everything's for sale, but they always make me an offer. They all know what the stuff sells for. It's like art. Mm-hmm. You know what a John Byrne page is going to go for. You know what a Perez page is going to go for. If somebody wants to buy it from you and they say, well, they can't offer you half of what it sells for. And that's usually what they do. They offer you a half or a third of what it sells for. And you you can never make a deal with anybody. You know, they always lowball you.
Right. Well, that's one of the biggest criticisms of collectors and offers out there, right? That they don't come prepared with a value or it seems serious, right? Or you never hear from them again, even if they seem interested. I get it. I'm sure everyone in the chat has experienced that once or twice. The inquiries that go nowhere. I got an email the other day, last night, where someone said, I've got 3 pieces of art I think you'd like to, you'd be interested in buying. You know, reach out and let me know if you want to talk. But they didn't say what they were. I don't even know if I would want to reach out. How did they know, right, that I'd want to buy them? I can't tell if it's spam, but I mean that's like the worst intro ever, right? You want to have somebody at least tell you, hone in on what's available or what they want to ask, what price range they're thinking of. Yeah, there you go. James is offering you $500 for a missile.
For which one?
Which missile, James? The one in his left hand or the one in his right hand?
Yeah, I have 4 missiles. Those are the smaller ones.
Yeah.
It's all real metal, and they're made out of real missile parts. That's from the cave scene in Iron Man where he's going through where he's a prisoner. You can see those laying outside the camp. When he's got the battery attached to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you want them to look authentic, you got to get the real missile parts, right? I mean, that's the way to go.
Yeah, those were all sold from the studio auction. So I had no idea what those would sell for. There's never been any in auction. A lot of this stuff, there's no comps. That's why it's hard to price it. But if I get a fair offer, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, James, he's been commenting on the missiles a lot tonight, so you may get some you may get some action from him after the show, one way or another. Let's see here. Yeah, we all need, everybody needs a couple missiles on, behind their camera. Our back wall would look great with a couple of those. Now, are these the claws you wore for the photograph?
Yeah, those are the string. I got those years ago. Those before they even started making fakes. Those are Wolverine origin claws. And those came with 2 COAs. Came from the first auction and from a prop store COA. So that made them even better to have. I like it when they come with 2 COAs.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Yeah, I've had a lot of Wolverine claws. I probably had 8 pairs from the different movies.
But the base, though, is the base made by you after you pick up the claws, or do they use that in some way to present the pieces and
That's
prior
a
to the
display.
auction?
I have it on there. Most of them are made like that. We can adjust it to move the claws around.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually what a base looks like. Then you could loosen the screws up so the prop master, if he damaged one of the claws, they can replace it quick. They didn't tighten the base back up. So it's quick and easy to get it fixed. Now it's way too small for my hand, but that's what they look like there for that movie. Now X-Men movies are made different. Logan, they were made different. He's been in so many movies with claws, and everybody makes them a little different.
Sure.
But they always scratch their initials on the bottom or left or right. You can tell. The biggest thing with props like this is provenance, having the right COA. Being able to follow them through ownership and through auctions. This comes down to research, doing the right research.
Yeah, I wonder if Jason D'Ambrosio, are these straight enough for you? I know that's really important in your collecting, at least your art collecting.
They're pretty straight. I mean, these are pretty straight. You can get a pair of Wolverine claws, though. I mean, there's so many for different movies,
Mm-hmm.
And Wolverine claws fluctuate. Years ago, they were going for more money, and they drop. Then they go back up, then they drop. It just depends on how many's in the market or hasn't been in the market for a while,
Sure. Well, he signed the back of the case too, didn't he?
Yeah, that's the box. Yeah, he drew all over that thing.
James is trying to work all kinds of angles. He said you should bring all your props to OAX and I'll cover the shipping. He wants to see those missiles.
The missiles will be a pain in the ass. I mean, the one missile is 6 foot long. That's not in the picture. I have it in the room over here in storage.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 8 foot long. It's 8 foot long. It's a Moab, in that one scene where you see the real long ones, and they're about that round. Or
Yeah.
I mean, they're really, really big. I got one of those. But what's cool is most of the parts are real missile parts, so they really did a good job on making them.
Well, if we had props at OAX, I'm sure people would be taking selfies in front of them all the time. They can probably get more attention than I don't know, than some of the art. I don't know. That might keep people away from the show floor. So I don't know. What to think about that.
Especially costumes or something you could really stand next to, you know.
Yeah, well, the Thor stuff, you got to bring some of that. I'd be happy to get photographs with that. I remember seeing somebody once brought a Thor, was like a helmet to, I think it was Heroes, and had Walt Simonson sign it. I mean, I would have been scared to death to see something like that, even if it's a replica prop. I mean, would you risk having, an artist sign something that, you know, I just can't imagine it. But you've had some props signed. I mean, that Robert Downey Jr. Pelican case thing was just signed by him too.
But yeah, he signed all that before he donated it to the auction.
Mm.
So it was a cancer auction, I think he donated it to. But he wrote all that. I would never have props signed. No props. The chair backs I don't mind getting signed, or the clipper boards. Clapper boards are fine, but never get prop signed ever.
Mm-hmm.
It just damages the prop. You got to keep it authentic and how it's supposed to look from the movie. I've seen people sign, get William Shatner to sign in front of a tunic that he wore, but it's an $80,000 shirt. And here you got him signing the front of it, It just, people don't like that. Most collectors don't like that. He values it.
Right. Yeah, I would think signing clothing, you'd be better off just getting him to sign a photograph and having the shirt with it or something. But normally I would not ask you this question, but Marcus has asked it, and it actually is a valid question. Out of on your prop side of things, is there a favorite piece of all of the pieces you've collected over the years?
What is my favorite prop?
Yeah.
My favorite prop is probably the Thor torso armor.
Yeah.
It's the more rare one, and you never see them. You will never see one of those in auction. There was only 2 that were ever put out for sale, and they didn't have prop store COAs, And I love. I mean, I would say that's probably my favorite because it's big, and I knew he wore it. And you put the helmet with it, you put the hammer with it, and it's an awesome display. I mean, it's great. Because you'll never see anybody with a Thor torso armor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do love the Iron Man hand as well, though. The armor hand, that's one of my favorites, those 2 pieces.
Cool. Well, there you go, Marcus. We got an answer. So tell me about this piece. It resembles Howard the Duck.
Yeah, that is the model used at the end when he's fighting the Dark Lord. ILM, because George Lucas made Howard the Duck. A lot of the same people who worked with Star Wars, Indiana Jones, made that movie. This is at the. Did you remember at the end when he's the big scorpion monster? He's fighting.
It has been years since I saw the original Howard the Duck. But looking at this prop, I feel like I have to go back and watch it now. It's been 20 years. I don't think I've seen it since the late 90s.
I've had this for a while, but it's all handmade. It's not an X-Wing model, but you don't see any models from Howard the Duck. But this is, at the end, that was all miniaturized. It was stop motion. But he's fighting the monster, and Howard the Duck's like driving this all around, and this part here is when he's going towards the Dark Lord. It's all screen matched to the movie.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to rewatch that. I kind of forgot about that movie, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
A lot of the people that made Star Wars made that movie, and they don't show when we do see the movie. You want to think it, but
well, Dave Kopecki says it's still a George Lucas movie prop, so you've done good.
And that was one of the ones I had to do a big trade for. Anytime you get something good from somebody, you got to give up some good stuff, though.
Derrick wants to know if you have any screen used copies of Play Duck.
No.
No. There you go. Sorry, Derrick. Wishful thinking, I think, but not tonight.
It's out there, but there's a couple of collectors that were buying that stuff. You know, a lot of the guys that live in California, Los Angeles, they get so much great stuff. It's like living in New York City back in the 80s and 70s, you know, collecting art. You're right there in the hub where everybody that makes it lives. And if you collect it, you're buying it all right there.
Right, you probably got insiders who can get him stuff before it even goes to auction. So you got some more blade paraphernalia here.
Yeah, that's sort of the spring spikes that he uses. It's got a spring inside, so he's stabbing them. It goes inside. These are all solid metal. The spikes, that's what he wears on his leg. I just took it off to get a better picture. Yeah.
I saw that one. Now back to you. Oh, here you go. Look at that. Clapboards. Yeah,
those are all set use clapboards from the movies. You can see where I had some signed. And the Captain America, all the Marvel movies have code names. Like Captain America was Frostbite. So the Frostbite clapperboard is from Captain America First Avenger. And there's a scene behind the scene where they're filming the train scene where Bucky and Cap storm the Hydra train, where it's going around the mountain right before Bucky gets killed. That's the clapperboard he used for that whole scene there. I got a picture of it, of them on the mountain with that clapperboard in set. And they never erased any of the writing off of it. So after they used it, they put it in a bag somewhere in a box. And all the markers, the original to that scene when they filmed it.
Wow.
It's hard to get those. The last one I tried to get was the Guardians of the Galaxy clapperboard I think Prop Store had. And it went really high. You never see clapperboards. But I got a lot of those the same way a lot of guys got art. You talk to the camera guy or somebody, the technician from the film, and one of them still has it, and you make him an offer, and he sells it, and you got it.
Marcus is happy to see something from the Black Panther films.
I like the Black Panther film. I love Black Panther. I got T'Challa's chair back. It was very hard to get that, but I got it. I got pictures of his costume designer. The guy that I can't think of his name right offhand now, but he designed Elon Musk's spacesuits that they wear, and he designed the Black Panther costume. I can't remember his name, but I got a picture of him signing it from his office before he sold it. But he got that from when Chad Boseman was doing the sittings, getting the costume fitted to him. Yeah, I have a lot of Black Panther stuff.
You got some Stanley signatures here. I can see Sam Raimi, Kirsten Dunst. Yeah. Looks like Toby as well.
Yeah, that particular one was bought at Prop Store auction, the one where they're all signed it, William Dafoe and everybody signed it. Some of those I bought from the auction signed. Stan Lee ones I got signed by Stan. But that was the only ones I brought that time. I should have brought more, but I just wasn't thinking about it at the time. That's the full costume Thomas Jane wears and the Punisher. What everybody wants from that one is the jacket. The jacket's very hard to get.
And you've got one. Marcus wants to know if you have any Cyclops props.
No, the only thing you really see for that is you see the visors from the different movies that he wore them in. And you can get the visors, but there hasn't been any for auction in a while. I got Cyclops chair back.
Chair back? Well, yeah, that counts. I mean, they're bringing them back to the Marvel movies, so there's still time. There's still there could be future opportunities to pick up some props from James Marsden, right? I mean, I think you never know. No red Ray-Bans, Derrick. Hey, they're probably out there.
Yeah, they've sold at auction a couple times, but there hasn't been any up for a while. I haven't seen any for sale. That is the full Doug Jones costume, worn Rise of the Silver Surfer on a Tom Spina custom display. That one's really nice. Usually what you see at auctions are just the head and shoulders, because that comes off. But that I got real lucky on a deal on that one. I got the full costume. People ask about that one all the time, but they always make silly offers of this. I don't. That's the other side of the Iron Man hand. You had the back side earlier.
Right.
That is one of my favorite pieces. It's all metal. That's the Royal Guard. What do you call them? The Hydra. I always forget the word wrong. Thor's Royal Guard, Odin's Royal Guard. Hydra.
I couldn't pronounce it if I tried.
But you remember seeing they got the shields up with the elves come and attack, and they all attack. But that's all a hero sword. It's got brass inlaid in the blade. That's part of the costume that I got. But I made a display separate for that. I have the sword here. The sword probably weighs about 8 pounds. It's pretty heavy.
They
Most
wanted
of the time, they're made out of rubber. They're made out of rubber or plastic.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all metal. It's a hero sword.
Nice. Well, there you are, showing them off. Another one with the helmet and a toy collection behind it.
Yeah, that's all my Marvel Legends I keep in the office. That's Captain America's gun from the movie. All these displays like this, the door opens up on them. It's like a box, and you can open the door up
and take the prop out.
Yeah. And it's all 4 of the Hydra helmets.
Mm-hmm. Not bad. I think that was the last one too. Last image from the photos you sent me. And that's just a small portion of the things that you've collected from movie props, right?
I mean, all the amount of stuff that I've sold and traded over the years of props is the one I got now. Yeah, a small portion of them.
Well,
the one thing I regret selling is the suitcase.
Right.
The Iron Man suitcase that he has handcuffed to his wrist. And Iron Man 2, the hat he has that he throws down the ground and it turns into the costume, the Mark V. I got rid of that one a little bit.
You say you got rid of it. Did you get an offer that actually had a price and it was too good to pass up?
At the time I got that was probably 8 months into collecting the Iron Man props.
Mm-hmm.
At the time it was right after the auction, so props were everywhere, and everybody was selling, trading. I just didn't think about it. I got good money for it, but it's like selling a John Byrne page 20 years ago. Now it's the price.
Yeah, no. Yep. Yeah, we've talked about that. Well, that's but that's kind of the same thing that we go through in the art hobby. We've talked about that a ton, right? It's just the idea that there was a point in time 10, 15 years ago where it was easy to pick up stuff, so you didn't mind letting them go. And now you let something go, it's almost impossible to replace it, no matter what it is. I mean, even ROM pages these days. I mean, 2 or 3 years ago, those pages were $1,200 to $1,300. I mean, now they're double that. Because there's you talk about it, you see it, you start seeing them on CAF, and then everybody wants one, and then all of a sudden you're out of the market, right? I mean, it's just difficult.
They've gotten more expensive in the last year for sure. I mean, they're just basic pages, nothing that's like really no fighting or no great things going on. This guy standing around talking are going for over $2,000 now.
Right. I know. Well, and I think a little bit of that is just it's Sal Buscema, right? I mean, his artwork for the longest time was probably we could say it was undervalued, and now I think across the board, anything that Sal's worked on, Hulkwise, Rom, you name it. I mean, it's gone up in value more than a lot of other artists through that same time period, like the last 3 or 4 years. So the ROM pages are finally just catching up to that, I think.
Yeah, I've always loved Sal Buscema's art. He did so much stuff that I loved reading back then. That's why so much stuff I have is from him. It seems like it's always these artists. The stuff I really want, I just can't afford. I want to get a John Byrne page and a Jim Starlin, a David Cockrum, and just some more Ross Andrews Spider-Man. It's all stuff that has what I want on it. It's just too much money.
Mm-hmm.
And Sal Buscema, I can still afford. You can still get a good page by him. But if I could get some Dave Cockrum pages, I'll be happy to get them. If the price is right.
Yeah, Jason says sell some of your Wolverine claws and you can afford, some one piece at least from one of those artists. Probably not the burn like a Burn X-Men page, maybe a Burn She-Hulk page. Matt DiTullio is lamenting that he says you had the MK5Ks. Matt's a big Iron Man fan, so
yeah, I had it. It was the
Matt
rubber.
Not the one who bought it.
It was solid rubber. It's at the Mopop Museum. It's the one that's at the Mopop. Because
Really?
somebody eventually sold it to Paul Allen, I think. I think he was the one that bought it, or whoever bought it and sold it to the Mopop. I think it got sold to 2 other guys, and the Mopop's got it now. So the one you've seen, a lot of that stuff you see in there, I used to own it. Has the handcuffs hanging off the handle.
Mm-hmm.
But I should have kept it. But the money I got for it just bought more props. So it just fed something else.
No, we all do that one way or another. I was trying to go through, where was that in the chat? Rom says that pages without ROM are still available for less than $1,000, and that's probably true. But that's you're not going to go after those pages too often. I mean, if
there's a few pages out there you can get for under 1,000, no ROM or nothing.
But no ROM on them, right? Exactly. Yeah. That'd be like buying a Thor page with no Thor. So it's tough. Yeah, you can't go that way. Jason says there was actually a decent John Byrne X-Men page on Comic Art Live for $30,000, and no one bought it. I don't remember seeing that. I don't know how, but I wouldn't have had $30,000 to buy it anyway. But yeah, I'll have to go back and look. So why don't we look at some art, man? We've been going at this for like an hour and 20 minutes. We haven't looked at any comic book art yet.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, there was one question before I go. What was it? I remember, where was it? It was Brian Peck. He said, do you have any original or artwork blueprints or designs for any of your props? And you showed that one, like a, I don't know, a drawing for one of the set pieces, right? That was that Ant-Man piece on the wall. But do you have anything like what Brian was talking about?
Concept art. Even like concept art, I have concept art, concept, like paper stuff. I have stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not framed up or anything. I have blueprints for the Rebirth Lab for First Avenger, all the machinery, stuff like that. Some of the arc reactor stuff. I have stuff like that. A lot of paper stuff like that. A lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff. There's nowhere to display it. It's like if you watch Dave Mandel's show, Stuff Dreams Are Made Of, where he's been talking about he has all those, all that paper stuff that he has is sitting in a box.
Right.
All the storyboards that he has and all that. He never sees it. He has so much other stuff that he might as well sell it because let somebody else enjoy it, Right. That's probably what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to sit a lot in the prop store eventually and sell it. Somebody will enjoy it. I just never get to look at it, I just never pull it out and look at it.
Mm-hmm. Well, one day you may have a heritage signature auction named for your number one. I don't know. Would you go with Thomas Derrick or would you go with the number one Marvel fans heritage signature auction?
Whatever they want to use.
Whatever they want.
Whatever gets the most bids.
Right. Exactly. Whatever attracts the most attention. All right. Well, let's dive into some artwork here. I think you gave me 18 pieces of art from your collection. So starting off, tell me about this one, because I kind of remember when you picked it up. I remember you talking about just liking the imagery on it, and I don't remember who the artist was for it.
That was Raul Goodman did that one. Raul Goodman.
Oh, it was like an after Buscema sort of thing where he was looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But he changes a lot of it around from the original, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see a lot of the colors and the way it's almost identical, but he changes stuff around on it. He does really great work. It don't cost that much money. And that's a big piece, too. I framed that one hanging on the wall. I just like the way it looks.
So is this something that you commissioned?
No, that was at auction.
It was, okay.
Yeah, Heritage, I believe, had that one. It's a pretty big piece. That one went really cheap. I mean, I hate to say how much it went for. It was so cheap.
There's nothing wrong with cheap artwork.
I know. Well, a lot of that
If
stuff
only there
I
was
get, the artist, what he charged to do it is way more than what it sold for at the auction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what he charges to do it. And I love
All
that
right, so
page. That was
this one's awesome. Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
Any early Sentinels is always good.
That was make the deal offer with Mike. With the Berkey
I remember that. That's right. I was, that was, I think I feel like I was surprised because this, I kind of had a vision of things that you collected, and then you went after this one. So what about the page was that made you even want to make an offer during one of Mike's shows? Because his shows can be tough sometimes, especially because he's, I know we all know Mike. He prices things, where he wants them to be, and sometimes that's wishful thinking. And claim shows are tough to make that decision, but I remember you making the decision to pick this piece up during the broadcast.
Well, it's got Sentinels on it. I love that. It's Rich Buckler. I like his art, and Berkey took the deal. I mean, I knocked a lot off of it. He took it.
He did.
So I was happy to get that one. I'd love to get anything from Avengers from that time frame. No Adams, any of that stuff, but it's gotten so expensive now. But I love that page.
Yeah, I mean, try to find a better, a page with Sentinels on it from this time period that you can afford. There's not going to be a better one. This is great. I was kind of jealous. I hadn't seen this page at Mike's when he pulled it.
I was going all through my Berkey's pages at that time, trying to find stuff that was for sale, because everything I liked was sold already.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was sold on hold, sold. And I seen that one. I'm surprised he had it, and that's what I picked up at Heroes last year.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. Well, that was a good get. I really like that one. Here we go. So Mighty Thor with X-Men on it, no less.
Yeah, we know that's Ron Friends.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely you can tell Friends' artwork. I mean, he just has that classic style. This is a great page. I don't think is this your CAF? I don't know how I don't think I've seen this one in your CAF. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's in my CAF.
Yep.
I got that from James.
James.
Price on it. I love that page. I mean, you got the shooting back and shooting back at them, and those two panels right there are so great. I love that. I mean, it's a great. I would like to get more of those pages. That's the one I got right now. I just love those when they're blasting each other right there. It's just so great.
Oh yeah, and you get Nightcrawler in his classic uncanny early costume. I mean, this is fantastic. Friends on Thor. Do I have a Friends Thor page? I think I've got one, but I loved his run. He was on the book for so long, and man, the stories were really good. I mean, there's eras of Thor that kind of got a little dull, but when Friends was on the book, the stories were so much fun, and then being well drawn on top of it too.
Yeah, I was reading all these every month they came out back at the time. I was following. There was a lot of good. When he was on, it was great. Thor and Spider-Man. I love it when he was doing the work on it.
Nothing wrong with that. John Moore. This might be the piece that got a lot of people excited about John's skills. I think really. I mean, this was one of the first pieces that I remember seeing from John where I'd liked his work, and then I saw this piece and it just blew me away. The lighting is incredible on it, the detail he put in on it. I'm sure it's all, but I'll let you do the talking.
But that was from the OAX
Yep.
inaugural auction night,
Mm-hmm.
and I was lucky to get. And kind of fought for it. It was me and I don't know who I was bidding against at the time, but we kept going back and forth on it. But I won. I was surprised I got it. But I just loved that piece when I seen it. Just the shadowing on it, I just loved it.
Yeah, it could have been Chris Norick, I guess. He won a piece too that night, but yeah, this one just, I mean, John just continues to do really great work. But this piece for me was one of those ones that when I first saw it, I was just like, damn, John, he's kind of leveled up, and you look at the work he's doing today, he's playing with lighting a lot. But this was a piece that got my attention.
Yeah, John's been doing a lot of great work lately. He's really doing a lot of great zipper tone and different effects on his art pieces now.
Yeah, his mystery sketches this last time around were really nice too. John is always trying something new, and it's always killer, says Carl.
Yeah, he posted on Facebook. There's always something different he's doing, some kind of effect. He's doing great work. I need to get more work from him, but there's always so many artists you can get from. It's too much to choose nowadays.
That's a good thing, though, Tom.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
That's the one I just got recently.
Damn. That first panel. I mean, well, first the half splash, basically. That's incredible.
And now Steven sold me that one. Gave me a good deal on that one. I like the machinery in the back. I just love everything. And that's the second appearance of Crossfire. Second page appearance.
Wow. Yes, there is some thing bondage on there, guys. I saw that, but it doesn't matter.
It's got some bondage going on there. It's Jim Craig and Pablo Marcos.
Oh, well, that explains why the inks are just really rich. That's great.
They're really good on that. Pablo does a lot of really good work on inks. I just love that. I got a good price on that. I was always surprised. But that's the keeper. I like that. I love that page. It's great. All those weird 70s villains I love. Like the Orb. You never see, all those weird villains. You never see anything come up at auction or anywhere. You get an opportunity to buy that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people I contact never want to sell it or not interested in it. So it's hard to get it.
Well, the good 70s and 80s Marvel art is always going to be highly in demand. Peralta, right?
German Peralta, yeah.
Mm-hmm. This was a mystery sketch.
Yep.
Yeah. That was one of those early ones where you're like, wow, German was pretty, obviously he was at OAX last year too, but I think I've always thought his stuff was really nice. But then when we saw the mystery sketches from this round by him, I mean, you got to be blown away, right? I mean, to get a painted piece.
That looks way different in hand. That's one of those ones that looks way different when you see it. I was surprised to get that one. It's really nice. I need to get that framed up. I just haven't had time to get this stuff framed recently. So I have so much wall space to do, and I need to buy some frames.
Well, there's probably some storage locker somewhere that you could buy that filled with frames.
Since COVID, they haven't been doing any live auctions around here anymore. They don't do it.
Oh, they don't?
5 years. It's all picture auctions now. They take a picture of the unit, and you got to bid on the picture.
Wow.
So
and then
no more of that.
And you just drive in and empty it?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I don't do that. I stopped. Yeah, I stopped years ago. I ain't doing that.
It takes all the fun out of it.
Well, plus they go through the bays. They take all the good stuff and make it look like it. You know what I mean? It's too scammy. It's got too scammy now. So.
Well, congrats on this piece. We're doing a lot of unboxing of mystery sketches these days. I think we have another one on Friday, but They're always fun. And then when you see, when you find a diamond like this in all of them, I mean, the mystery sketches by and large are so good. But I remember when we saw these from Peralta, we were all disappointed when we weren't the ones getting pieces from him during that mystery sketch round.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I show people and try to tell them, look, you got to do mystery sketch. It don't cost that much money, and this you're going to get some good work. You're going to get a nice piece out of it.
Yeah. No, this is a good one. I have this image saved. I use it every once in a while in the PR pieces just because it stands out, and it was an early one, and I can always look back at that and say, that was 2 years ago, and people, just get surprised when they see stuff like this being done for $200. What do we got here? I like this. The first panel made me chuckle when I saw this one. That the hammock that Spidey's kind of made for himself to hang out during the meeting. There's room for him on the couch. He didn't have to do that.
That was a piece from Jason.
Oh yeah.
OAX1. I bought that from Jason. Team Oreo with his Oreo. When he was
Oh, at
part of the
OAX?
Oreo team.
Yeah, he was the soft, creamy center, I think, is what he was for part of Team Oreo. But no, that's cool. I would have bought a page like that. I put that. I think that's funny. He's Spidey's drinking coffee. They're all hanging out. I mean, what's not to love about that one?
That's Don Perlin and Joe Sinnott.
Oh, Sinnott was amazing. I mean, he just made Marvel wouldn't be Marvel without Sinnott's inks on so many books over so many artists, just making everybody look so darn good. Yeah, this is a great page.
The prices on Defender stuff's gone a lot higher the last 2 years too.
Mm-hmm. Jason says this one came straight from the Sinnott's family. Yeah, they've done a sale or two, I think, over the last couple of years. So for those fortunate collectors in the right place, right time to be able to pick those up. What is that? Stingray says you're waiting on it. It went in the mail today, actually, Newell. So you should expect it probably by Friday, maybe Thursday. No, that's a good one. But see, there's a reason why you are the #1 Marvel fan. I haven't seen any DC art yet. This is a newer one too.
But I just don't. Yeah, just try to stick to Marvel. There's always so much money you can do, and I love DC as well, but I just probably won't buy any art from DC stuff.
First one's still affordable. Just saying, I say it all the time. If you're into Superman, but look at this one, man. Rob and Galactus. This was such a great story too. And when I saw you post this one again, just was like, damn, man, you're picking up some great stuff.
Fish gave me a good deal on that one. I have to do a shout out to Fish on that piece.
Well, Fish just got that, Birth of Phoenix page, basically. So he needed to move some artwork to get a better piece. So this is great.
Yeah, it's my favorite ROM page. It's hard to get anything from those books that Galactus was in, and having Galactus on it in the Space Knights is just a twofer.
Yeah, I love that last panel. That's the thing too. Is there's so many the Galactus collectors out there that are in the hobby, that are always in the market for a Galactus page. I mean, they're the ones who just push the price up, right? I mean, I want a Galactus page. I think everybody would love a good Galactus page out, from almost any title. But this one's fantastic. You did good on that one. Nick Perucci says everybody should hit the thumbs up. Please do. I don't know how many we've got so far, but one like to 60. Okay, it's only at 59 right now, Tom. You were in the chat. I know you would have hit the thumbs up at least once by now.
Yeah, hit that thumbs up. Sharing is caring.
That is what Mr. Brucci says. Oh man. Well, anyways, I love this page. I'm glad you got it.
Yeah, I wish I could find more with the Space Knights, but they just do not come up.
Did you have one of the ROM toys growing up?
Yeah, I got that. I got the robotic, electronic one when it came out.
Yep.
That
Same
and
here.
the Cylon one that came out.
Yep. I don't think I was reading. What that came out before the comic, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember getting it and not knowing what it was, but I remember thinking it was too damn cool to not purchase. I still had GI Joes and stuff, so they're all about the same size, so you could have epic battles between an alien and some army men, the
Well,
tall
that
ones.
one and the Cylon 12-inch came out, and they all took took batteries. The
Hmm.
batteries died real quick, so it wasn't no fun playing with them that much when you couldn't have the battery in them.
Yep.
And just gave up interest on the toy. The toy wasn't that great anyway. I mean, it was great that it was ROM, but at the time there was so many other toys to play with that that was out.
That is very true. What was that around the time, the Steve Rogers, $6 million man toy was out there. You could look through his head, and
Yeah.
I can't remember what all the other stuff was, but yeah, that was a great era of toy collecting. The Cylon was cool too. That's true. I didn't have that one though.
Yeah, they tried to do that 12-inch toy line for a while, but it didn't last. When the show got canceled, it just killed the toys.
Hmm. All right, what do we got here? Oh, I remember this page when I saw it get posted to CAF. Ghost Rider, you get him right. You got him exactly as you want him. Flaming Skull, but fighting that guy with the giant eye for a head.
Yeah, it's hard to find orb pages. I love the orb.
Orb, sorry.
That's
Yep.
the one I got. I got that from. Yeah, I got that from Anthony. One of the doing Dylan shows. And everybody liked it. I got a lot of comments on that one, and I posted on Facebook, and I got a lot of comments on Facebook on it. So people love the orb.
No, that's a good page. I didn't remember this was from Dueling Dealers though. I think I've seen too many pieces of art over 4 years, but no, I'm glad you got it from him.
Jim Jimenez is another great artist that I like it when he does a little bit of color in his pieces. Does black and white, just a little bit of color.
Yeah, was this a mystery sketch or something you picked up off of Jiggy's website?
Yeah, it was something I picked up off the website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Jim's work a lot. So yeah, we got to meet him at the last OAX, right?
Yeah. I've got a lot of Jim's work. I think I got like 12 pieces from him. He's another artist that's really great. He's really don't cost a lot to get a nice piece from him.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Jiggy
a prime
says,
example.
you see that? Jiggy says you are the #1 Jim Jimenez fan.
He does great work.
Oh, I agree. I remember when I first saw I think the first time I saw his work was a mystery sketch, and it was a black cat, just pen and ink piece, and I was blown away. His compositions are cool and dynamic. He draws the figure really well. I mean, look at this thing. This is really well drawn, and just not your average con sketch kind of approach to doing a character in a pose. We all love Jim. You're right, Stingray. All right. Who is this?
Joseph Lee.
Joseph Lee.
Yeah, that was one I bought a few years back.
Mhm.
I just loved how it looked.
What's the size on this?
That one's probably about 14 by 20. It's
A little
big. It's a big
oversized.
piece.
Yep. Nice. See that framed? Do you have it up on the wall?
I haven't framed that piece yet. I got it in an oversized portfolio. That's one I got to get done. This has that really nice look to it.
The colors are great. It's like the Desert Storm Iron Man outfit. That's cool. And where'd you pick that up? Is that a something you got direct from the artist?
That was a heritage win.
Okay.
Oh yeah. A lot of those pieces I get like that. If I like them and I'll bid on them, and when it's done by kind of unknowns like that, you get a really great deal on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got lucky in a lot of those pieces where I thought I love how they look. It was just that one's really different in hand when you see it.
I have yet to get lucky on placing thrill bids on heritage. I've done it a few times, and not just thrill bids. Bid that I think is okay. That maybe on an off day I'd get the piece, and I have yet to win any of those bids that I've placed. But you always hear stories. People who say they place bids on the first day and kind of forget about it, and then they get the email 7 days later that they won an auction lot. And I have not experienced that joy yet. What? Someday, maybe. All right. Next up, where are we going to from here? Oh, well, Dan Burton.
You know who that is?
Oh yeah.
That was one of the episodes you did on a Saturday where you had to have it plane tight first, and
Mm-hmm.
the button finger over the button.
Yeah, that first show with Dan was. Yeah, when we did our first show with him, it was exciting because I think it was there was. Well, I think COVID was just ending, but Dan hadn't done a show with us before, and none of hadn't really had a lot of artwork on the market before. And then he did like 25 pieces just for the show. I think we sold most of them. But you're right, it was crazy. There were some pieces where, remember that Medusa piece that came up. I even thought about buying that one. That was like one of the first times I saw a piece where I thought I want to buy that, and then I let it ride because I didn't know what would happen. And I think 14 people wanted to buy that one piece. But yeah, this is a good one. His colors work. You could tell a piece by Dan just by seeing the color palette that he uses on a piece, and then his the way he handles anatomy and faces in particular are just a Burton piece when you see it.
Yeah, that was. I knew he had that Adam Warlock coming, and it was just sweating because I didn't know what was coming next.
Yeah.
And that was the main one I wanted out of it, and I got lucky because a lot of people were claiming afterwards. So that was one of the times I actually got lucky on those quick draw claim shows.
Got to have fast internet.
Yeah. And I think I could have sworn Nick was the second one on there. I could have sworn he was.
I know Nick picked up a few pieces that day.
Yeah.
Todd Sheffer says he loved that one. And what is that? CJ says we're close to having we have 63 thumbs up so far with the 70. It says 75. Looks like 78 people, probably from Facebook too, watching. So everybody should remember to hit the thumbs up since we're almost done with the show, and leave a comment afterwards too. Those are always helpful. Tom does it. Tom, you've gone back and literally watched probably every episode that we've ever aired on the channel, and I mean, that's well over 1,000, and you've commented on most of them.
Yeah, when I'm at the office and I'm working or doing stuff, I always have them playing, and then I always try to hit a like, and I always try to leave a comment if I remember to do it. Sometimes I forget to leave a comment, but that helps the channel grow. It helps the algorithm. It pushes it more in people's feed, of suggestions. That's how I found the show. Was somebody I found it years ago and suggested to me. That's why I started watching it. And look what happened,
Yeah, and now you're starring in the 300th episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is true. It's been a slow burn growing I remember when we crossed 6,000, you had said, let's get 7,000 within a month or something like that in the chat. Well, it took almost probably like 9 months, but we finally got here.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's when you're putting out content, you just never know how people are going to discover it. But I remember this piece, this Kupperberg Howard the Duck. I thought this was awesome, and I'm really glad you got this one too.
Yeah, I thought that was a good price on that. And I had to find the magazine, the crazy magazine it came out of, so I could see what it looked like. I bought that. Any of the 70s stuff, like from Howard the Duck, I love that stuff. You know, like the Howard for President buttons. I got those, and I remember as a little kid seeing that, always advertising all the comic books. You know, Howard for President. You know, and I could have sworn they had like a lot of iron-ons I would see around somewhere back then. Yeah, I would see Howard. I didn't really know what he was too much back then. You know, back in the late '70s, if you saw somebody wearing a Howard the Duck shirt, where'd you get that at? You know, and there was nowhere to buy that kind of stuff. Head shops would sell that stuff. You know. The only way you got a cool geek shirt back then was an iron-on.
Right, of course. Well, back in the day, they always had those Marvel T-shirt iron-on, so you could get. They never worked too well. Ones that you could do yourself.
Yeah, I would get them when I was in school. They came with paper. You got writing paper.
Right, that's what it was. It was with the ruled paper. I forgot it.
Yeah, you got a free iron-on, and you wash it 3 times. They came off. Sure.
Yeah, it didn't last, unfortunately, but it was a great idea to sell paper.
Yep.
Oh man, and I see James reminded me that I was going to do a giveaway tonight for the 300th episode. What I'm not sure what it'll be, but for those of you who would like to be in a giveaway, let me see here. I'll just create one on the fly, and I'll come up with something good. I'll let her. I'm not sure what to give away though. I should have prepped it for this. But yeah, it's been a little hectic around here. But here, I'll throw it up on the screen. Just type in #300 to be entered into the giveaway. So we got 72 people watching right now. So I would expect 72 entries before this whole thing is over. But I'll come up with something. I promise. I can't think on the off the cuff here what it'll be. But just go ahead and do that. We have 5 people entered already, and we'll do the drawing in the next 10 minutes before we call it a night.
You have any more of those Hawk hands left?
I do. I've been putting. I actually have. I haven't mailed these out yet, but I have something for Jeff Wedding because he won a giveaway from a couple weeks ago, and also Tim Guerrera. So I've got 2 boxes over there that I've just been putting stuff in as I find it. So, but yes, I do have Hulk hands, and I might even have a Thing hand left too. So Jeff, you're in the chat, just so you know, I haven't forgotten you. I'll tell you, the only thing that's holding Jeff's back is I promised myself I was actually going to draw a sketch card for him, and I haven't done it yet, Jeff. So that's the only thing holding back sending the package out for you right now is my inability to get a drawing done. But now that I've said it out loud, I have to have it done and in the mail before the end of the week. So I already know what I'm going to draw, so you don't need to say. I've known for a while. All right, but I'm going to get that done now. Anyway, let's move it along here. We got 39 people entered into the giveaway. I think there's a few more pieces in here, right? Another ROM piece from issue 32. Got Mystique on this one. Look at that.
Yeah, I wish I was buying those maybe a year earlier. Because a couple of those popped up on Heritage a lot, and I missed out on all of them. And I finally decided to get them, and then now you can't. They've gotten like 4 times the value now, in like 1 year. I mean, they've gotten to be expensive, but I got lucky on that one though. That was from. Did I get it from Mike from Doing Dealers?
I don't remember that one. I mean, the first panel definitely looks familiar, so maybe.
I think that was Mike. Yeah. A lot of these pages, it's confusing because it goes from 3 owners in a couple months for some reason when they do their little inside trading things. They go on and you forget who had it.
Right, a lot of people do buy stuff to flip it. So Jiggy says he's going to contribute a 6x9 Jim Jimenez commission. That's very generous, Jiggy, and we'll add that to the giveaway, and it'll just be 1 giveaway, I think, right? Or should we do 2? We do 2. We'll do one for the 6x9 Jim Jimenez, and then one for a CAF Plus related giveaway because I've got plenty of stuff here. There's nothing that says Comic Art Fans on it. I discovered I have no CAF related merchandise here, but I've got a few other things. We'll do 2 giveaways. One will be for the Jimenez commission, and the other one will be for a CAF centric prize package. So thank you, Jiggy, and I'm sure we'll have Jimenez on sometime again soon. He's always busy, but we got to get him back on the channel. All right, what do we got? 41 entries so far. So no, it's a good page. And if you got it from Doing Dealers, all the better.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Mike. Yeah. And that's A.V. Granov.
Yep. You cannot mistake his signature.
And that's a large piece. It's hard to get the concept art like that. It's just, I got lucky, got that one years ago of Ironmonger.
Yeah, Adi's does great work, and this being just a straight ink wash piece is really sweet. Even Abby says Austin Grano.
Yeah, I always want to try to get a nice Iron Man piece, but you just don't see him come up anywhere. And it's hard to get on his list. I've never gotten on his list yet.
Mm-hmm.
Get a nice colored piece from him.
Yeah, no, he does amazing work. I love that, you know, the arm in the back that's just really done as a wash. That's pretty cool.
Is I own the Ironmonger, the actual armor. I don't think we didn't show that, but
You could, I bet you could wear that.
Yeah, I own that. So that's why I collect Ironmonger stuff.
Mm-hmm. Did you try that costume on?
Well, it's too big.
It's too big.
It's giant. It's the full thing that he's looking at in the movie. With Jeff Bridges.
Oh, all right. That he wasn't.
It plugs in the RT in the chest.
Yep.
It's the full torso of the Ironmonger.
Well,
it's not made to wear. It's just there for show.
We could have worked it out though. If we would have thought, we could have spent a couple weeks coming up with something. We could have figured out how to get you in the Ironmonger. You know, next time you're on, maybe for the 600th episode,
I can wear the helmet.
We'll work that out. Hey, Donna Moore is in the chat. Number 300. You got it. Does it work with the exclamation point at the end? I don't know. You might not want to put that exclamation point on there, Mr. Moore. Well, this is a good Granov piece. So let's see, where are we going to after this? It's another Defenders page.
Yep. This has got Magneto on it. Some evil mutants. You wouldn't think that was a Defenders page, though.
No.
Yeah, I like that one when I seen it because it's Sal Buscema and it's Klaus Janson inks.
I was trying to figure out who the penciler was, but it is Sal, but with Klaus's ink on it.
Yeah, I just love that page when I seen it.
I got Eunice the Untouchable. Oh, thank you, everybody. 300 episodes feels like only yesterday when we got started.
You've gotten much better at it, Bill. Back in the old
I don't know
days,
about that.
you watch old videos, you were scared. We were all
scared.
In
the early episodes, yeah, where I looked like a deer in the headlights. Yeah, I got ribbed in the meeting today about the first episode because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. You know, I haven't really looked back on that first episode for a few years, and then they put it in the little short on YouTube that they used to promote the show. And yeah, it's a wonder. I mean, yeah, those were very difficult days trying to figure out what to do on a live stream.
And Will and them guys would never let you talk. Glenn, when you all were doing the shows together,
mm-hmm.
They would just seem like you were there.
Yeah, we had a good time before. When we were doing them, it was easier having those guys on the stream with me because I didn't know what I was doing. They picked a lot of the early guests that we had. MSM Studios Comics says you'll donate a hardcover art book with an original sketch on it for the 300 show. Okay, we'll add that to the CAF giveaway. So let's see, we got how many? We got 49 people who have entered the giveaway. We have 89 people watching right now. So it's right there. Just hashtag 300 into the chat, and you'll be entered to the giveaway that we'll be doing in the next couple minutes here. Where's Will? Where's Glenn? They're out there still, Marcus. I have nothing but fond memories of Will and Glenn. We're still friends. Even after all the stuff that happened with the show and everything, it was all fine. I mean, I don't hold a grudge. It takes a lot for me to feel that way, but no, we're still friends. I mean, every time we always have a laugh when we see one another, and Bashara too.
I always wonder where's Disco Stu at.
Oh, that's a good question. Didn't Stu sold some good stuff out of his collection? I don't know where. Maybe he's taking a break. I don't know. This is a good piece. And again, another very good piece. Nick jumps in and out all the time, jumping in. 76 likes. Yeah, we are doing pretty well. Thank you. Oh, how'd this one get in there a second time? Sorry about that. Well, that was my last one. Somehow it ended up coming up in the loop. A reunion show, says Peter. We did that actually. Didn't I do a reunion show for like the 3rd year anniversary? I think I did a reunion show as a surprise for everybody to kind of let everybody know that we were all cool with each other after all that time. Yeah. So no, it's cool. No, I'll see Glenn at San Diego, and of course they're both at OAX. We're all copacetic. Glenn listed a bunch of interesting art lately. He has. He's solid still. He does a lot of consignments, so that's what kind of keeps him going. An all Pop Mon episode. Yeah, that was those. Yeah. Pop Mon was a running joke here for a while. Everybody knows what that one was, right? It was like early days of Dueling Dealers. We had a pop. I think Glenn had a Pop Mon page that he listed for like on their show for like $1,500 or $2,000 or something like that. And Mike had a stack of the pages from the same book. So for like 3 or 4 consecutive weeks after Glenn's show, Mike would have a Pop Mon page from the same book and offer it for like $200, just to kind of rub it in to Glenn. It was fun times. Those were always the fun memories. And yeah, M Studios, shoot me an email, bill@comicartfans.com, and we'll work out getting the book over. But here we are. We're at the end of it. We can do it. We can do the drawing. Does that sound like a good idea to you?
Let's do it.
All right. Let me share the screen here, and we'll do 2 drawings. One's for the Jim Jimenez piece that Next Comic Art is donating to this. So you know, they had too many good memories there, CJ. And of course, we'll do a CAF prize package that I will put together, and M Studios will have a hardcover with a remark in it. So let me share the right screen. We'll get the giveaway on here with us. Here we go. So how many we got in there? 53. There's 81 people watching, and we only have 53 people who have entered the giveaway. How's that possible? We say this every single time, everybody. You guys are sitting here watching. You can be on Facebook or YouTube and enter to be part of the giveaway. All you gotta do is type #300 into the chat for your chance at getting a sketch from Jim Jimenez or a CAF prize package. So I'll give everybody another 30 seconds to do that since you're here. What should we give away first when we do the drawing, Tom? Should it be the artwork from Jimenez or the CAF prize pack?
I would say CAF prize pack.
Okay.
That's the way to go.
All right. James is we got everybody in here now. All right, 15 more seconds, everybody, and then it's drawing time. And yes, there was a piece of artwork drawn. There was a Spider-Man piece drawn by Romita Sr. that he meant to write to Doug, but unfortunately the U looked more like an N. And I wish I could buy that artwork back, because that was probably the first time we all had a really good laugh on the show. It was like episode 8. But all right, we're going to do the first drawing. You can still get it in for the second drawing, but the first drawing is going to lock up with this one right here. This is for the CAF prize pack. I need a drum roll. I got to do that every time I think about it, and I never do. Lee Harmon. Hey, congrats, Lee. All right.
Keep going, Lee.
Here we go. Lee Harmon. Get the CAF prize pack, and the hardcover with a sketch in it that we are going to get donated by and from M Studios Comics. Now, one more. We get to do one more drawing, and there's still only 56. I can't believe nobody else has entered, but this is for the Jim Jimenez giveaway. And okay, Ram got in there. All right, we're gonna do it right now. Drawing for Jim Jimenez, 6x9 commission of your choice. What we got? If John Amore wins this, he has to give it back. All right, Tina Hager. All right.
Way to go, Tina.
That's awesome. That is wonderful.
Right.
Congrats, Tina. Yay. I mean, that's so nice. That's wonderful. Thank you, Jiggy. Thank you, Jim Jimenez, and congrats, Tina. That's true, James. You were close. You were very close. All right, Tina. Well, you probably know Jiggy's email address, nextcomicart@gmail.com. I would just email him directly, and I've got a few packages coming in from Next Comic Art. So, and maybe you've already got a package that's coming in. I don't know. Either way, one way or another, we'll make sure we get the artwork to you. But yeah, that's awesome. Thank you to Jiggy and Jim, and yeah, this is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Stingray. He threw in a super chat message there. Happy number 300, 300 more to go. Yeah, it probably won't take as long as it did to get to this one with all the different stuff we've got going on over the next year and or so. But yeah, that's right. If you want to put it like that, Marcus, you can say it that way. Hager bombs yeah, that's true. Wow. So listen, yeah, just like Casper said, thank you, Tom. This has been fun. We've been wondering when we were going to get you on the channel for a while, man, because you've been such a constant, you know, person in the chat, always positive. You rib Anthony at the right moments when everybody wants to and no one will. So it's been a lot of fun getting to know you and everybody in the chat. I'll be honest, the last 5 years doing these shows has been like the most fun that I've had, and I think everybody who's on the team have had. Many of us, I wouldn't know Matt DiTullio if it wasn't for doing these shows. I mean, all the stuff that's happened, it really started when we first started doing these streams, and it's been the best thing for CAF. I mean, we wouldn't have an OAX or a Comic Art Live virtual shows. All that stuff happened because we started doing these live streams, and so. Tom, seriously, man, I'm glad you did this with us. Every once in a while we do collector chats. If you want to come on one of those, we'd be happy to have you on. Give your 2 cents on stuff that we might be discussing in the future. I mean, don't be shy. We know you have
come on
an
down.
iPhone.
I know how it all works and everything.
Yep.
Get it on my iPad, get my iPad straight so I can see better, and that'll be good to go.
That's true. Bill's reminding us, Tatiana. Tatiana was she's going to be on the show on Friday. We're going to do another unboxing, everybody. So I'm going to be bringing on a couple different artists, and Next Comic Art will be back with us on Friday. And Tatiana's got some more art to show off. Maybe I'll even get Mark Hay to pop on, but we'll see. It'll be a good, fun evening looking at more mystery sketches. James says you're anything but shy, Tom.
I try to be. Try not to be shy.
Oh man. All right. Well, listen, everybody, we appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. This was a lot of fun. Tom, don't click leave studio. We'll talk for a minute after the show. But everybody, thank you so much for making these first 300 episodes as fun as they have been. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time now, and it wouldn't be half the fun without all of you being here, participating in it, and making these interviews and art sales and everything we do here on the channel so enjoyable. It means a great deal to all of us on the team, and it's meant a lot, and it makes us want to work even harder to create good content and have things that are interesting for everybody out in the comic art fans world to enjoy. So, all right. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Anthony and I will be doing another sales show. Don't get bored with those. They're always fun. You get to see Sharon, at least. That's the good part. Good night, everybody.